Okay, we are ready to start. You can stop the music, Pavan. Thank you. Wish you all a very good morning. I hope everyone is keeping safe and healthy during these critical times of COVID-19 pandemic. As always, we welcome you again once again to this ongoing series of EBSCO hosted and conducted webinars in which we have had eminent speakers from the industry speak on variety of topics related to library technologies, ideas on innovation in digital space, as well as topics on mental health and balance. Today, we have a special seminar for faculty members, researchers, students of various disciplines who are always looking forward to publishing with top ranked high impact factor journals and publishers. To make this understanding easy, we have with us today our global active publisher partner, Oxford University Press. And the guest speaker today is Ms. Sumita Sen, who's a regional training and implementation manager for South Asia and Southeast Asia for OUP. Just to give you a brief bio of Ms. Sumita, she has over 18 years of experience, out of which she has been with OUP for 6 years now. She specializes in training small and large groups across diverse industries. She has a proven success in leveraging educational theories, methodologies to design, develop, and deliver successful training programs and integrate instructional technology to provide on site and virtual training. Highly adept at organizing and facilitating management and team building training programs and activities. So, we have a very experienced trainer from OUP, Ms. Sumita Sen, and I wholeheartedly, from on behalf of EBSCO, welcome her and request her to take on the stage and I mean the virtual stage and take us through this session on how to publish with OUP. Welcome, Ms. Sumita Sen.
Thank you so much, Mr. Goswami, for the wonderful introduction. And a very warm welcome to all of you. I just wanted to check if I see my screen. Yes. Are all of you able to see my screen? Just give me a flag. Just one person.
Not yet, ma'am.
Not yet. Now?
Now we can
Yeah, it's about
we
coming.
can
Yes.
see this.
See my screen. Okay. Thank you so much. So, a very good morning to all of you, and welcome to the session on getting published by Oxford University Press. I will be running you through a few details on our company, what we do, a few basics on journals, and how you can convert your thesis into an article. What are the things that OUP looks for, and the entire submission process. I'll briefly touch upon um, open access and the different kinds of open access that OUP has to offer. If you have further questions, we can always look at doing another session on another day if we are not able to cover any other demand of yours. Um, so let me begin with introducing my company. These are the things that we will be covering today. Just take a brief look. I just did that. So here we are. Oxford University Press is a department of the University of Oxford. This is the University of Oxford, headquartered in the United Kingdom. It is the oldest and largest university in the English-speaking world, which means it actually needs no introduction. We all know how good it is.
Sorry to interrupt you, Sumita.
Yes.
You need to be, if you can be near to the mic, because we are losing in between some words which you are saying. So audio is slightly unclear. So if you could just
Okay.
you
Is it
make
better
sure that
now?
it is better now. Yes. Thank
Okay,
you.
so I'll just stay in this position.
Absolutely.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Thank you.
So, like I said, it is the oldest and largest university in the English-speaking world. And Oxford University Press is a department. So what we do is we are constantly looking at academics. We have about 43 online products. We've got journals, which is our most coveted product. We've got ebooks, we've got medicine, we've got law, we've got encyclopedias, bibliography, art, Islamic studies, biblical studies, dictionaries, you name it, we have it. So just a brief rundown. It was founded in 1478, and we have a presence in about 51 countries. We employ about 6,000 people worldwide, and we publish approximately 7,000 new books and 370 journals in a year. This is what the structure of the company looks like. It's the University of Oxford, which rolls down to the delegates of the press, which further rolls down to Oxford University Press, and our chief executive is Mr. Nigel Portwood. Let's take a look at the journal's landscape. Who are the publishers that publish journals? Well, for profit, we have the big five: Elsevier, Wiley Blackwell, Taylor and Francis, Springer Nature, Sage. Profit, or not so much for profit. I wouldn't say, I'd be lying if we said we don't make money. We do have to make money. We do have to pay salaries. We do have to keep the process going. But whatever we try and put back into developing education. So you have Oxford University Press, you have Cambridge University Press, you have Yale University Press, Manchester University Press. The list is endless. And we have research societies, which are learned societies, which we will talk about in detail as we proceed with the session. Why Oxford Journals? Now, it's not me, Sumita Sen, who works for Oxford University, who stands with the mic and says, okay, so we are Oxford University Press and we are the best. No. This is data collated by a company called Clarivate Analytics. You've heard of Web of Science. They are the ones who collate this data. And according to them, 70% of our journals have an impact factor. For those of you who are familiar with journals will know the importance of an impact factor. However, I will be touching upon it in detail as we proceed. 80% of those 70% that have an impact factor, 80% of those come in the top 50% of at least one category. And we have 6 journals ranked number 1 in at least one category. And this is the latest data that we've just received from Clarivate, which says that 55% of the journals with an impact factor are ranked in the top 25% of their field. And over 75% are in the top 50% of their field. We'll take a look at all this in detail and its importance as we proceed. This is a chart I wanted to share. Mr. Goswami just said that all of us are grappling with this pandemic called coronavirus. We are all trying to figure out a solution. We never thought that, we could go back 500 years ago to a situation where there would be no treatment. We always thought that the Great Plague of London happened so many years ago, and now science is developed. But Oxford University Press is doing its best to give you all the research for free. So now let me go back to our platform and just share the platform with you. So here we are. If you remember, I was talking about, just a second. If you remember, I was talking about our contribution to COVID-19. There is an information hub here, which gives you free access to all research that is happening
Sumita, the screen
around
has
COVID.
gone gray. Sorry to interrupt you. The screen has gone gray, so we can't see the slide right now. Are you trying to show the browser or is still the PPT?
I was trying to show the browser, and I think
Okay.
I just got, I think I've been logged out and
Yeah.
trying to get back.
And still, we are getting messages that voice is still breaking at the end of the sentence. So sometimes we are missing the word. So if you could revert back to the yesterday's, the way we practiced, if we can follow that
In
protocol,
that
it
same
should be clear.
position.
Okay, okay. I think it's to do with the bandwidth now. I think that is the major thing right now. So okay, so can you go back to your PPT because
I
the
can go
browser
back
is
to
not
my
coming.
PPT, but I think
Uh,
I've lost out, so I'll have to.
Sorry, ma'am. Can you see the orange tab on top?
Yes, I'm going to
Just click on that. And,
share my screen
yeah.
and my content. Okay, so now can you see my screen?
Ma'am, request you to share your screen instead of content.
Yes.
Share my screen, yes. That's
Yeah.
what I'm doing.
Can you see the third option on the top left?
Where you have three dots.
Just click on the orange tab on the top.
Yeah,
Stop sharing.
it says you're sharing your screen.
Yeah. Just stop sharing that once. Click on stop sharing.
I do see stop sharing. Okay,
Yeah. Now on the third option, top left. Can you see that? Share.
you see my screen.
Yeah. Coming up. Now we can see it.
Do you see the gray block on the right side? Because we are able to see a gray block on the right side of the screen on your PPT.
Yes, yes. How do I remove this?
Just drag it or minimize it.
I've done that. Hide the do. Now is that okay? Good to go.
Yeah, there's one more small gray box.
Small, yeah, one more. You can drag it up, upwards or downwards, wherever.
There is no gray box that I can see.
Okay. You can still see that, but okay, now it's gone. Yes, so now it's fine. Still appeared on the top middle, but okay, now it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should I
Your
continue?
yes, please. Your browser is visible now, and the gray boxes are also gone. So thank you.
Thank you. Welcome back, everyone, and I'm really sorry for the minor little glitch that happened. Uh, this is the Oxford Journals platform. The URL to access it is academic.oup.com. So I was talking to you about our contribution to this current pandemic, coronavirus. Oxford is doing its best to share its research, make its research open for the audience. So if you go to this page and if you click on the COVID-19 information hub, it will take you to access to all resources across OUP products that you have free access to. So it'll take you to a selection of journal articles, a selection of chapters and articles from our online resources like medicine, bibliographies, handbooks, etc. It'll also take you, these are all hyperlinked, it'll take you to a selection of OUP blog articles. You can browse relevant journal articles, and you can browse resources for care practitioners as well. So all of this is freely available for all of you. And you'll be happy to know that the first vaccine, which was launched by Oxford University, by the University of Oxford, was on 23rd of April and is now going through human trials. We are now doing our human trials with Brazil. We've got volunteers from there as well. So we're looking at doing the trials from different countries as well. This is just a little jazz around what we are doing, and let's go back to theory. I'm going to be sharing a few very basic concepts about journals, and I'm sure all of you already know of this, but I will still run you through because I know you will need this information when you want your article to be published. So I'll go through a few basics. On this page, we have 357, about 357 journals on this platform. If you wish to see all the journals, just click on the journals A to Z and you'll get all of them. Or you could browse by whichever subject you're interested in. And we have a lot of information otherwise, like this resources tab is just a duplication of functionality. We have a tab for authors. If you click on this tab for authors, you would get all the information that I am going to be sharing with you today. Everything that you want to know is available here. So all of them are hyperlinked. Just quickly take a look and go through it after the session. Back to the home page, we have resources for librarians. Anything that a librarian would need, whether it is downloading MARC records, usage reports, requesting for training materials, posters, brochures, all of that information is available on this tab. Out of the 357 journals that we have, 1/3 belong to OUP, and the remaining 2/3 are published in partnership with other research societies. If you wish to see our partners, just click on our partners and you will get to see that we actually work with very learned societies. So you have the British Council, the British Geriatric Society, you have the American Society of Hypertension, Journal of Hypertension, for a whole lot of learned societies here. You have the European Society of Cardiology, which is a very, very super effective, super learned society, as we call it. Any information that you need on open access, just click on this tab. It's available here for you. You will get to see the fully open access journals that are available here as well. Now I'm going to run you through a few basics. We choose a journal from medicine. The European Heart Journal. So I know all of you know this information and I'm just repeating, but there are a few basic things that I'll quickly run you through. When you open the homepage of a journal, you actually get the impact factor, and it also gives you the ranking. And you see this has a very high impact factor. On this page, you see that we partner with the European Society of Cardiology. This is published in conjunction with the society. There is a submit tab. Every journal page will have it, which will give you a set of author guidelines. Mind you, every author guideline differs with every journal. While one journal tells you we need Times Roman 12, another will say we need Calibri 10. The number of words will differ. The request for keywords, the request for the abstract, all of it will differ. So before you choose your journal, it would be very wise to check the author guidelines first. Now we look at about. When you come to about, you get the evolution of the impact factor. So now I'm going to become a little, switch into a little school teacher mode and just run you through the impact factor. All of you who know about journals know that it is the impact factor that determines how good or bad a journal is. And how is the impact factor? How do we get the impact factor? There's a formula for it. The number of times an article has been cited divided by the number of citable articles published. And this data is taken using the data for 2 years. So if I am looking for the impact factor of the European Heart Journal for 2019, I would take the data of 2017-18 to get the impact factor for 2019. Now, why I'm asking you to see the evolution of the impact factor is clearly understood here. You see, there has been a steady growth. It's not jumped from 7 to 24. There has been a steady growth, which means you know that there are more and more people gradually using it. Now let me tell you a little story. And a journal is called ABC. No one reads it. It's an absolutely useless journal. I give it to the librarian throws it into the dustbin. I give it to some school teacher, she doesn't care. Some researcher, it goes into his drawer. I give it to any faculty, just look at it and just keep it aside. No one cares. It's useless because there is no substantial material in it. Nothing that is of real information, of real value. Now, I have this friend, I wish I was related to him, Dr. Amartya Sen. We're very close. And I walk up to him and I say, Dr. Sen, why don't you write a little article for my journal? And he obliges. He says, okay, Sumita, I'll do that for you. And he writes that article and I publish it in my journal. What happens? Because of his article, more and more people start citing mine from my journal. And what happens as a result? The impact factor goes up. Does that mean my journal is good? No. My journal is still bad. It's still useless. It is just that one article from Dr. Sen which has actually made the impact factor go up, which is why it is very important for all of you to check the evolution of the impact factor before you decide on choosing which journal you want to publish in. I'll go back, I'll take another journal. I'll show you another example. Let me take arts and humanities. Those of you who are familiar with arts and humanities will know that arts and humanities seldom have an impact factor. So I'm going to open African Affairs here. And what do I see? I see it has an impact factor of 2.1 and 5-year impact factor of 3.14. And I check the evolution. I see it has steadily grown. There's been a little dip here, but it has steadily grown. Now you would turn around and say, African Affairs, why does it have...
Sumita, sorry to interrupt you, Sumita. If you could keep the microphone closer to you, I think it will be improving. It is better than listen to every word they're saying. So they're requesting that the microphone be kept. Sound is louder. or if you have a
I
headphone,
am trying my best. Is
something or
this?
yeah.
Well, this is the one that I use for all my training sessions, and now
Okay.
is it
Or
better?
if
If I remove it now, okay, now I've removed it. I'm not holding it now.
okay,
Now is
now
it all
also
right?
is there a in the voice at the end, so you can
Because
wear it out because that was better.
that was better, right? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, here we are. So we're
Okay.
talking about African affairs. We're talking about African affairs, and you see, this has an impact factor. Now, I'm going to show you another one from Arts and Humanities. I'll take you to another journal. Let's say, let me do French studies. Now you see, there is no impact factor here. So why does brain have an impact factor? Because I just said that arts and humanities don't really have any impact factor. So this is where a journal could be a multidisciplinary journal. So if you look at African affairs, it also comes under social sciences. Now your next question would be that African affairs has an impact factor of only 4. So maybe it's not a good journal. While you will check the evolution of the impact factor, there is one thing that you must remember. And what is it? Depending on the kind of research. In which field does maximum research happen? Maximum research will happen in life sciences, in medicine. Science is changing every day. When I was small, if I had fever, my doctor said I couldn't take a bath. But today, when my children were small, the doctor said, go take a cold shower, give him a cold shower. And I was shocked. I said, why? But science has changed. Earlier, when people had a kidney infection, the doctor said, drink lots of water. Today, when people have a kidney problem, you're only allowed to drink 500 milliliters of water. So there is a change in science. Every day, people are discovering newer things. So the more the research, the more the citation. Therefore, depending on the field of study, the impact factor will definitely be higher in a medicine or a science journal than it would be for a social sciences or maybe any other subjects. Have I got the impact factor concept clear? So now I'm going to go back to African affairs, and we'll I just need to show you one or two things about a journal. So here we are. You can browse issues from here. Now, journals are of two kinds. One is the current collection, and the other is the archive collection. The archive collection is from 1827 to 1995. The current collection is from 1996 till date. So you could look at issues, and let's choose an old issue. You could choose from the drop down, but in the interest of time, I'm going to just move on to any particular article. Very important fact that I wanted to tell you, which will be linked to your uh,
We are not able to hear you, Subita. Subita, can you hear me? Looks like there's a disconnectivity at her end, looks like. Yashvir, can you call her and check?
I'm calling her.
गुड मॉर्निंग चेष्टा करो आपके द्वारा डायल किया गया नंबर
Now, what does the Ultrametric Score do? It's collated by a company called Ultrametric Sorting. It gives you the demographic and the geographical breakdown of the article. It tells you how many people have read it, how many people have viewed it, how many people have downloaded it. And if you click on see more details, see it gives you a world map and it tells you the dissemination of the article. You see, this particular article is being read in the United States, in parts of France, and who are the kinds of people who are reading it? The scientists and science communicators. And
Can you go
members.
back one slide because we had missed your audio in between for about 2 to 3 minutes.
As in go back to the Ultrametric Score?
Yes, yes, you're the previous slide because that's where we
I'm
missed
not
your
using
audio.
a slide. I'm
No,
not
no, no.
using a slide. It's a live demo.
Right now it's a live demo, but prior to that, we missed from that point. From the PPT that you were showing last.
I've been on the slide for on the online
Yeah,
page
so
for a
yes,
long
so from
time.
here, yeah, so from here I think we missed.
Okay, so this is the Ultrametric Score. It gives you the geographical and the demographic breakdown of the article. It tells you how many people have this article, how many people have downloaded it, which parts of the world people have read it, who are the kind of people. So if you click, you see it tells you so many page views, so many downloads. And if you click on see more details, see it tells you there are people in parts of France and it, and who are the kind of people. The demographic analysis is given here. You have scientists, you have science communicators, etc. So now I will need to go back to my. I've explained three very important things about journals. I've explained the impact factor, the altimetric score, and I've explained the. What else have I explained? The impact factor, altimetric score, and the DOI. Now I'm going to go back to my presentation, and I think I'll have to go back to this share my. I think we've lost the screen again. Can you see the screen now?
Yes.
See the PPT?
Yes, it is visible.
So now we move on to actually how we can get ourselves published. Now, all of us in the academic field want to be recognized for our contribution in our field of study. I travel a lot. I think I'll write my own travel blog and someday get it published. And now people who are scientists, they actually doing a lot of research, and they know that what they're researching would be good if it was out to the audience. It would give them fame, their work would be recognized. A lot of people just work for fame, they don't work for the money. And what do journals do? They publish articles that make a significant contribution. But you have the idea, you've written it out, and you want it to be published. Everyone's dream. But it's not an easy job. To get your work accepted in a journal is not easy. Why? Because publishable articles need to be based on solid scholarship. You can't turn around and write and say, the orange fell down. I was sitting under a tree. I threw it up and it fell down again. That's stupidity. Newton discovered that years ago. And he said the apple fell down. So you just can't change it to an orange. There's no scholarship behind it. So it has to be solid. The methodology, how did you come to that decision? You should be able to explain each and every step as to how it has proceeded. It has to be well written. Be very careful about the language. We don't want you to be Shashi Tharoor. We don't want great language. Simple, correct English, written in the active voice and in the past tense. It's as simple as that. And make sure your message is clear and concise. Don't beat around the bush. Go step by step, A, B, C, D, E. This is where we reach. Let's look at more concepts. Now, this is something across the globe people have always asked me to focus on. What is the difference between a thesis and an article? The first basic difference, and I don't even need to look at the slide, is the audience. When you're giving your thesis, the first person who reads your thesis are your professors. They know you. So they'll turn around and say, oh, Arvind probably did not study. He was probably disturbed, so he missed it. Let me give him the benefit of doubt and give him a few marks. Because they know you, your professors know you. Whereas in a journal article, your peer reviews don't know you, and they are ruthless. If they think you've missed out on something, they will reject it outright, or it will come back to you asking you to make corrections. That's the first biggest difference between a thesis and an article. So you might turn around and say, oh, but my thesis, my professor said it was very good. Why was it rejected? First thing, you have to be very cautious. Calcutta, I studied in Calcutta University, and I know the heavier your paper, the more marks you get. So in a thesis, the more you write, the more, and because the thesis, its prime motive is to see how much you know. Whereas a journal article wants you to show what you have found out. We know that you know so much. We want to know what is it new. And we want you to be precise. We don't want you to write pages and pages of rubbish. Just give us what you found out and how you found out. That's exactly what we need. So how would you turn your thesis into an article? First thing is you will do your homework mentally. Think, have I done enough research to write an article? Is my research really going to be published? Is it really something new? Find out if anyone else has already not discovered that. The second thing where you can actually article, you can think of writing a letter of short communication. Now let's say Pavan is doing research on a tablet that stops you from getting COVID. He's discovering an immunity tablet which stops you from getting COVID. So what does he do? He's doing his study and he's got points 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But to his utter dismay, he finds somebody else just the day when he's about to submit his article. He finds somebody's already found that and given it. But that person has written 1, 2, 3, 4. Pavan has 5 and 6. So what does Pavan do? He writes a letter of short communication. This is here. Also doing this research, and I love what you found out because they match with what I found out. But I'd like to add my 2 cents. I've also found out point 0.5 and 6. And this is how I've come to point 0.5 and 6. So that's another way you can get your research published. Don't lose hope if somebody's done the same research. You might have something new to add to it. That is something that you can do. The third way of doing it is you can think of writing a review paper. However, in Oxford University Press, review papers are always submitted by invitation. You need to be invited by someone to write a review paper. Step 2. The first half an hour that you thought I wasted running you through the journal's platform, it comes here. Choose your journal first. Read the author guidelines. Read about the journal. Check whether it comes under the scope of your research. If you're writing about COVID's impact on knees, how it impacts the knees, you will definitely not want to write it in a journal which focuses on you would want to focus it on an orthopedic, a multidisciplinary journal would do, like brain, because the brain's impact on the bones, but definitely not on oncology, because it probably will not link it to it. So choose your journal carefully. Check the impact factor. Check the evolution of the impact factor. Check the Ultrametric Score. See the kind of people who are reading it. See the if you are doing a research on malaria, you would not want to choose a journal which is widely being read in Canada or in Siberia. They don't get malaria. They have no mosquitoes. So check the scope of the journal. And golden rule, tie it as a knot. Key takeaway, just like you take a gold coin and put it in your locker, take this and put it in your head for life. Choose only one journal at a time. Don't, it's not like weaving a basket and saying, okay, you don't want it, okay, so then you take it. Acha, aapko bhi nahi, you want it, I'll give it to someone else. No, don't do that. Make sure you're submitting it only to one journal at a time. Otherwise, you will lose your credibility. Actually, follow the rules exactly the way they want you to, and then start writing your manuscript. Don't write your manuscript and then try to tweak it according to the journal style. So the different kinds of research articles, I've already told you. The fourth one that we've not
Sumita, we are
still losing audio.
sorry, Sumita, your voice is completely breaking.
Hello?
Yeah, it was breaking a bit, and now it's okay.
I think when I
You
talk
may
fast, it so I think I need to slow down. I think when I speak fast, that's what's happening. I've just
no, it
observed
was
that.
perfectly fine.
So
Yeah, in between it just got, yeah, it was breaking bit.
yeah, because I increased my pace. Okay.
Okay, now it's
So she
fine.
was really, so she was really, really ill, and the doctors had pretty much given up on her. So she was in and out of hospital, no treatment, and she'd resigned from her job. She knew that she couldn't work anymore, and she had accepted the fact that she would die of a UTI. One day, a friend who had gone to visit her said, "Why don't you come to a general physician that I know of?" And he took her to a doctor's clinic, a very aged doctor sitting in a garage. The first thing she did, she walked up to him and said, "Look, I will not take antibiotics." He was a very elderly man. He said, "No, I will not give you antibiotics." He gave her a cranberry tablet and a probiotic. He gave her VSL3 and he gave her track free. He said, "You take 2 in the morning and 2 in the evening, like one of each." So in 15 days, she was fine. In a month, she was back at work. She took back her resignation. That's a nice case study. So if you have a case study, you can always think of submitting it. So how would you find the right journal? You would look at the rankings. When you go to the impact factor uh, evolution, you can see the rankings as well. You will look at downloads, Ultrametric Score. You will look at the dissemination of the journal, which parts it is read in. You will look at the links to the societies. I showed you, it always shows up on the right side of the page. You will look up to the relevance of content and the publishing because when you go about the journal, you'll get all the information there. And when you read the author guidelines, you will get to see the review speed. I will show that to you on the platform as we do the submission of an article. Like I said, choose your journal before you start writing your article. Don't write the article and go around hunting for a journal to take it. How would you write a very I don't post so much in LinkedIn, but I do read it. And there are a few sites that I follow religiously. One is Enago and the other is Editage. They come up with very interesting features on how you can write a manuscript. I suggest you could follow them on LinkedIn. So the title heading is extremely important because it catches the reader's eye. I was standing in the airport the other day and I see this book lying on the shelf. It says Small Answer to Big Questions by Stephen Hawking. The title caught my attention and I bought that book. So make sure that you use the right keywords where people will be interested in looking at reading your article. The abstract is a summary of your work. Make sure the abstract is written beautifully, simplified for the user to understand what's in it for him. Always write the title and the abstract last. It's like wishing on the abstract and the title are your garnishing. Choose the right keywords because if you have the right keywords, when people are searching on it, it will quickly come up in the first few search options. Make sure the method is detailed, precise, written in past tense. I've told you the other gold coin that you take back, write in past tense, write in the active voice. Results include all findings. Make sure you have the right images, the right diagrams, the right figures, which send out a clear message to the users. And follow the journal guidelines as always. This is a very nice example of using sticky notes. I will show you this particular article, which is there on Oxford. So you see, when I told you you could download as a PowerPoint slide, see, it tells you where it is from. It is from this particular article from the Journal of Urban Ecology, and the DOI number is given here. It gives you the entire citation information. This is a very good example of using sticky notes for writing your article. And there's another one, which is mind mapping. I will give you the link to this article so you can read this article at leisure. Take a look at the mind mapping method taken. So now you've written your paper, you've selected your journal, you followed the author guidelines, you've written out your paper. Now, what is it? What's our next step? We will look at the OUP way of getting it published. I'm going to be giving you a 5-minute break. It is 11:50 by my watch. Exactly at 11:55, please be back. Till then, thank you.
You can all take a bio break, 5 minutes, because we have a lot of questions in the end to be answered. So it will go past 12:15 also. So request you all to take a break of 5 minutes and join by 11:55. Thank you.
Hi, is everyone back?
Yes, Sumita.
You see my screen?
Can you please speak? We will check the voice quality now. Sumita, can you please speak it? Because we are not able to hear you.
Yeah, I just wanted to check it.
As the PPT is not yet visible, it shows that it's about to come, but it's not yet visible. It says that you have started to share the content, but the PPT is not yet visible. Can you try again? Sumita, you're not audible. Yeah, we can see the screen now.
Can you see the brain screen of the
Yes.
journal
Yes.
brain?
Yes.
Okay.
It's visible now.
Okay. So should I start?
Yes, please. Yes, please. Go ahead.
Yeah. I think I'll probably end up taking a little longer than 12:30 because there is so much to share, and a how to publish session does take a good 2 hours. But let me see how quickly I can go through it. So here we are on the brain screen, and if you look, every journal has this submit page. If you click on the author guidelines page, just for you to see, it gives you all the details that you will need. How you can prepare the kind, review timings, the abstract, whatever information that you need is there. And you will have to check all of this before you start writing your article. So now we've already written an article, and our next job is to submit it. So let's just quickly go to the submission site. This is the only journal which allowed me to sign in without an Orcid ID, which is what I did my account. And just create an account here with your name, your university details, and login. So what I did was I created my account and logged in. On this page, you will get to see, you get a user guide, it takes you to the home page, site support. What you need is the author. So when you come to the author page, just go to the start new submission. And you begin submission. So what kind of work am I going to? I'm going to be submitting an original article. I save and continue. It's asking me to type something. that we accept only Scholar One or Editorial Manager manuscripts. Still waiting for the page to load. I think I'll just run you through the slides of the article submission process. Just go and do it from the PowerPoint. Can you see my screen?
It's about to show up. Yes. You can see it now.
So this is the overview of the publishing. This is the overview, thank you, of the publishing process. I'm not doing the online thing because I think it's, when I'm toggling, it's causing problems. So we've done the preparation stage. We'll move on to the submission stage. So I'll just show you the submission stage now. So you see there is a tab for authors. You go to the authors tab, and this I've already told you. The author guidelines, we've discussed all of this, so I'm just quickly moving on. Remember that these are the different sites that we are asked, you can use if English is not your first language. However, we don't endorse or guarantee any of these. Don't come back and say your trainer said to use Editage or Embargo and take any gadgets that you can try. What you need to do is you need to check the journal's website whether they have a Latte template or not. I wanted to show you the article submission process, but that page didn't work. What does a Latte template do? It's spelled as latex, which is rubber, but no, it's pronounced as latte. It's actually a document preparation system for very high quality typesetting. And what happens is it makes, when you're working, when you're typing out your research, and every time you don't have to keep going on and checking the font and whether the column is right or not. It just automatically does that for you. So it just makes work easier for the authors. So you must check whether that it is available or not. Once you are going into the online submission, like I said, it will always ask you for an Orcid ID. What is an Orcid ID? It's an online researcher identification number. So here we are. This is the only one that allowed me. Now it doesn't allow me. You see, it will always ask you to log in or sign in with your Orcid ID. The minute you move, what is Orcid ID? There is a Jane Smith in Australia, a Jane Smith in China, a Jane Smith in Japan, a Jane Smith in India, a Jane Smith in Singapore, a Jane Smith in New York, a Jane Smith in Tanzania, a Jane Smith in England, and a Jane Smith in Ecuador. We've got about 100 Jane Smiths. How do we know which Jane Smith has submitted this article? You need to have your own unique ID. It's free to create. It's a non-profit organization, but you will have to link your article submission with the Orcid ID. Otherwise, it will not be accepted. If you have one, all you need to do is associate your article with the existing Orcid ID. You see, I created a fake name. I gave a different name altogether, though I did give my correct email address. And you keep submitting, it'll ask you, you keep proceeding as it asks you to upload. You upload the number of files, and after a particular stage, you will not be able to proceed if you don't associate your Orcid ID. This is what is very important. It's a global registry of author and researcher identifiers. You have the option to choose your reviewers. When you come to step 5, you will get an option of reviewers where you can add reviewers. If you wish to add a particular professor or someone from the editorial board of that journal that you really respect, you can add that person as a reviewer. There is no guarantee that that person will be your reviewer, but you can always give your preference. The funny side is, or the flip side is, you can also write that you oppose a reviewer. If you know that this particular professor does not like you, you also, some journals give you the option of opposing a reviewer. And don't worry, it's always anonymous. Your peer reviewers will never get to know who the author of this article is. So once you've submitted it, what happens? It comes for peer review. What is peer review? Peer review is actually an academic term for quality control. If there was no peer review, anyone would publish rubbish. Anyone would say Jack and Jill went up the hill and we would publish it. No. What does peer review do? It tells you that the research is valid, significant, and original. We check for plagiarism, we check for authenticity, we check for the reality of the results, and then only is it open or is it published. This is how the peer review process works. You have an idea, you've done your research, you've written it out, you've written your manuscript, you've sent it to the journal editor, you've gone and submitted it, you've gone to the author submission site, and you've submitted your work, which is then reviewed by 3 to 5 experts in the field, and then they take a decision. If you get a cross, which is mostly within 2 to 3 days, if it is rejected, it'll come back to you. Check the review timings of each journal. If you go to the pen, if you get a pencil mark, means they want you to make a few changes. They've not completely rejected it. And if you get a green tick mark, means you're good to go. It will be published. Congratulations. So once your work is published, once your work is submitted, it will move on to the production team. When it goes to the production team, OUP will write to you and they will ask you to they will send you a link to create your account in the author site. You must remember that the author site in OUP is different from the author site of the journal. So the production team will send you a link with your article. It will send you it will ask you to sign a license. Until you don't sign that license, nothing will happen. Once your article, you've signed your license and it moves on to be published, your article will get a unique DOI number. Now, do you understand why I gave so much emphasis on DOI? Your article will have its own DOI number, which After it is made out to the public, you can share on social media, share on on LinkedIn, wherever, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you like. Once you submit, you will get this unique number, and you can track your progress of your paper, at which stage it is in. Here we are. Once it is accepted, we will send you the proof after everything is done. And if you have to make any changes, you will have to make it then. If you want an extension, you can always write and ask for an extension. However, once it is published, we do not make any changes, unless, of course, it impacts the academic accuracy of the research. We do not make any changes. So please make sure that you check everything, and after that, you are given a free access link to the online version of the paper. You can share it with others and colleagues, and you can post it on your personal institution's webpage. After it is submitted to OUP, the paper is embargoed. You know what the embargo period is? From the time it goes to the production team till the time it is made open to the public is the embargo period. If authors have embargoes on paper, the production team will try and accommodate your request. I've already said this. All of this is available in the author page. There's not much to explain. What I need to explain about is open access. A lot of people, and there was a training session where I had someone from Web of Science training. And he said, open access journals, you cannot always be sure of the content. So I walked up and I said, well, according to his company's data, our journals rank here. So it was a very pleasant interaction, and it was a real fun interaction at AIMS. But what is open access? Now, let's say an author, he's discovered something. He's discovered a magic cure that the minute you take this tablet, you will never get coronavirus, or you will be immediately cured. A magic pill. And this author feels that I've done this great discovery and I want it free to the audience. I want to make it free to the audience. In that case, what do? I have to pay OUP to make his work open access. When he makes his work open access, the author's approach is, oh, I've paid OUP, so I can write Jack and Jill went up the hall, or the cow up the hill, or the cow jumped over the moon. No, it doesn't work that way. Just because you're paying OUP, we will not publish any rubbish. It still goes through the same rigorous peer review process. We will check for authenticity, we will check for plagiarism before we finally make it out to the public. And these are the different open access models that we have. If you go to our open access tab on our homepage, which is academic.oup.com, you will be able to read about all of these in detail. This brings us actually to the end of my session. However, before I proceed, I would love to share the article that I wanted everyone to see, and I hope I'm lucky enough that I can share it. Can you see the Oxford Journal of Urban Ecology? Are you able to see it?
Yes, Sumita, it is visible.
Yes. So this is the article that I was talking about. Oh God, it's gone. Yeah. So if you have a mobile, you can take a picture of the DOI and keep it. This This is a wonderful article that I encourage everyone to use. It gives you a lot of information. You remember the sticky notes and the mind mapping? It's all here. We have an Oxford Academic YouTube channel, and if you type how to publish here, you will get a lot of videos on how to publish as well. You know, top tips for each of these journals. So please ask me any questions if you have.
Sumita, there are many questions, so I'll take them one by one in the interest of time. Whatever we can cover best, we'll try to cover.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Just give me a moment. Okay. The first question is how to select the quality journal for an interdisciplinary subject, for example, behavioral finance, because it fits into business, psychology, etc. Please opine on this matter. Opportunities for journals of social science and management stream for the B school faculties.
See how you choose your. Yeah, I've got the question. How you
Okay.
choose your journal depends on what you are trying to publish. So, for each journal, I would suggest in that particular area, field of study, I would suggest that you read the author guidelines, read the scope of the journal, check the rankings, check everything, check the readership, check different articles related to the kind of research you're doing, and then make a choice of which journal you want to choose. So you'll have to do a lot of homework around that.
Right, thank you. So let's take the next question. Today, there are so many fake journals claiming higher impact factor. In such a case, how to check its authenticity?
Which is why we always ask you to check the evolution of the impact factor. And we always ask you to go through reliable, don't look at predatory journals, but go through reliable publishers. Go through an Oxford University Press or an Elsevier or any of the companies, Wiley Blackwell. Check it out from there. I can't promote any other company, but yes, you will have to check under which company's platform they are, and you can and figure out which one is good, because their impact factor will actually tell you whether they are good or not.
All right.
And the evolution.
Thank you, Sumita. Next question is, can Oxford help us share the settings of article and bibliography as per the journal requirement? They would like to share multiple articles with regard to submission.
Good question. I don't think I have an answer to that. When you go to the authors tab section, there is a special team that handles queries like this, and there are FAQs there. I suggest you check that out, please, to get an accurate response.
All right. Okay. Next question is, please tell me the name of websites you suggested for manuscript once again.
There are so many of them. I can see my screen. See, I use Editage and Enago on LinkedIn. I check them out because of whatever they give us. But that is entirely your discretion. There are a whole lot of these things. Grammarly.
The first one you said is Editage. How do you spell it? ED or
Editage.
Editage? Editage. And the second one?
Yes. Enago. Enago. But I follow them doesn't mean I'm guaranteeing them. Can you see my screen? It's there on the slide.
Yes.
There are quite a few of these. You can check with them. Check each of these and see which one you like. You can follow them on LinkedIn. You'll get a lot of insights. because they keep posting things about publishing.
Okay. I'm trying to read this question, but some is somewhat unclear to me, but I'll still try. Maybe you will be able to understand this. This is, question is sometime during reference of journal, they are asking to sign in, but sign in the request giving, but response is very delayed. So maybe they're trying to sign, but the response is very delayed to find out full article from that journal. So what to do in that case?
Must be a bandwidth. That happens with me also. That happens with me. It happens with me when I'm training. I'm like in a classroom of 200 people and then nothing works. So
All right.
I think
So
that's
they
a
can check
bandwidth
their
issue.
bandwidth. Okay. All right.
That's a bandwidth issue.
Okay. So there's a question which says that why Oxford doesn't have any journal on education.
Well, I really don't have an answer to that, but I'm sure we have lots of information on education. We've got a whole lot of products, so there will be something somewhere. We'll probably have it somewhere, probably in our handbooks or in our bibliographies. So you can check out, and then if you can check Oxford bibliographies, which takes you to further reading, and it will tell you which one to go to, which gives you guidelines for further research.
Go to the next question. Is there any POC at Oxford for publishing their articles? POC as in, is it proof of concept or something?
Or is it point of contact?
Point of contact. Okay.
I'm just assuming. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm also not sure.
So no, there isn't. You go through the normal procedure. You go to the journal's website, you submit your article. If it's approved, it goes to the production team. Production team will get back to you. It's a standard procedure. There's no shortcut to it.
Right. Okay. So if there's no impact factor, does that mean the journal quality is bad?
See, like I said, arts and humanities, we usually have an impact factor. Like French studies does not have an impact factor. That doesn't mean it's a bad journal. Because for arts and humanities, how much research do people do? But multidisciplinary journals like, say, African studies, which comes under social studies as well as arts, like architecture. Somebody like me, who's a literature student, will say architecture should come under social studies or probably history, because I'm looking at Victorian architecture and I'm thinking of Mughal architecture. But somebody would say it should come under engineering, because there's a lot of engineering that goes into architecture. So some of them, that is what, Web of Science decides which discipline it should go into. So if it doesn't have an impact factor, mostly arts and humanities, total arts and humanities don't have an impact factor. How much research will people do on French Revolution? We've already found out what you need to know about French Revolution to find out about it. Just an example.
Right. Okay, we'll take the next question. In the initial stages, what type of article is preferable to the new researcher? Actually,
That's
very
actually
open question.
completely your choice. That's
Yes,
completely
absolutely.
your choice. I would do a blog. If I had to start, I would probably start with a blog. That's my personal opinion.
I'm just sifting through some questions. I'm not taking, the definition questions because that can always be searched, like how to calculate H index. I'm not taking those kind of questions. The next question which I'm taking is, does the journal publishes engineering research articles? If so, are there any publication charges?
I don't think we have any content on engineering, not in our journals. We're stronger with medicine arts and
Right.
humanities, social
Right.
sciences, engineering, no.
How long does it take for a peer review?
Again, like I said, you need to read the author guidelines. It tells you there is each journal will have its own guidelines. It will tell you if it's going to be rejected in the first 4 days. I couldn't show you the screen, but see if I can show you one. If you go to the author guidelines, it's given there, review timings, and it's different for each one. But usually, if it's rejected in the first 4 days, you'll get to know. That is for sure.
All right. Okay, let me take this question. How about preprints? When should I be able to put my paper in preprints, especially in computer science where the research is fast paced?
That you'll have to check with the production team. But if you go to the author section, they have their own set of information, things that you can do, how you move on, how you can promote your article, everything, all the information is here.
Right. So a couple of more questions in the end I will take is if my article is rejected by one journal, then is it a good idea to check with other journals or go back to the steps one and reworking on the same research with their guidelines, which means reworking on the article submitted to the first publisher itself, or should I submit to the new one? What's a good idea?
Um, Tough one. How can I tell you how it's a good idea? But yes, you see, since the author guidelines are different, the demands are different as well. Demand will depend on like it will depend on what the journal wants. One will say I want calibri, one will say I want it in 2 columns, one will say I want it in 1 page, one will say I want so many figures, one will say I want this. So you have to check and then again accommodate your other article. And when you're submitting it, it will ask you whether has this article have you submitted this article earlier elsewhere, has it been rejected? So they'll ask you in your submission process, you will get this question.
Right. Last question we'll take up for the day is would you please recommend a reputed journal to refer for my research work on happiness quotient of an individual and at large a society to impact the lives around? So does OUP have any journal on similar subject?
No, but if you find one, please let me know. I'd look for some more happiness.
One thing one can do is search for this topic keyword on Google Scholar, or if you have access to EBSCO Discovery Service, which covers a lot of over 125,000 journals indexed in that, conference proceedings, etc. You can definitely find some good journals on this topic, and then look for the how to publish in those. If you don't find one in OUP, right? So yeah, I guess we have covered almost all the questions that were being asked today. So we will conclude this session here at this stage by thanking Sumita for her valuable time and taking us through this very popular topic among researchers, as I initially said. And we would also like to thank all the attendees for their patience and our due apologies for the glitches in the audio. Initially, there was definitely a low bandwidth problem at Sumita's end, but thankfully it got resolved after the break. And I hope everyone was able to understand the entire concept in totality from beginning till end. Sumita has said that she will share a PDF of this PPT that she showed, and also the recording will be available to all of you who fill up the feedback form. You will also get your certificates once you fill up the feedback form. So, in case you have any other questions, you can reach out to our webinar host, Mr. Pavan Kumar, and leave your message with him, whether it is for Sumita or for us. We will definitely get back to you. If you have any questions, we'll forward it to Sumita and share the responses back to you. And thank you once again, all of you, for attending most of the EBSCO hosted webinars. Please be ready to attend the next one, which is on 16th. I hope you would have noticed on the slides that we were showing, it is on Folio, the library services platform. It's actually going to be a game changer in the ILS uh, world, I would say, in the area of institutional library services, interlibrary services platform. And this is on 16th June, 11 a.m. As we all know, we do the EBSCO uh, webinars on Tuesday of every week. This one we had to do it because it was a publisher one. We chose Thursday as that, and please look forward to the OUP next one also, which is on 18th. Is it right, Sumita? 18th, right? 18th.
Yes, 18.
18th. So that's on OUP products and services. So we hope to see you in both these upcoming webinars in the next few days. Thank you once again for attending this morning. Thanks for your time. Stay safe, stay healthy, and uh, goodbye. Have a good day. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sumita, once again.
Thank you to all of you and for being a wonderful audience.
Thank you. Goodbye, everyone.